Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you're looking for a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed, you are absolutely in the right place. And hey, before we dive into today's topic, could you do us a quick favor? Just hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss any of our upcoming explorations into, well, all sorts of fascinating subjects. Okay, so today we're plunging into the vibrant, kind of intricate world of a truly captivating freshwater fish. The Agassiz dwarf cichlid. Scientifically, that's Apistogramma agassizii. Our mission for this deep dive, it's basically to transform you into a miniature expert on caring for these stunning little creatures. We've gone through the most comprehensive care guides, sifted through the research, and we're going to pull out the essential knowledge you need to confidently, set up a thriving home for them.
Yeah, and what's really remarkable about this species, I think, is the sheer depth of specific understanding you actually need for its proper care. It's like way more than just setting up any old aquarium. It's really about meticulously recreating a little slice of their complex natural ecosystem. So we're not just going to tell you what to do. We're going to spend time on the why behind each recommendation, why it's critical, unpacking the biology and the environmental stuff that ensures they do well, because that understanding, that's what really empowers you as an aquarist to, well, succeed with these guys.
Okay, perfect. Let's pull back the curtain then on this little aquatic jewel. The Agassiz dwarf cichlid is, it's a perennial favorite among aquarists, and for really good reason. But what exactly is it? What makes it stand out right from the get-go? You might hear a few different common names tossed around for it. Things like Apistogramma, butterfly cichlid, maybe even Acara unknown, if you happen to be in Brazil. Its formal scientific name, Apistogramma agassizii, is actually a nod, a respectful one, to the pioneering Swiss-American naturalist Louis Agassiz. He lived 1807 to 1873. Kind of neat bit of history there.
Yeah, it is.
But where do these vibrant little fish call home, naturally? Well, they hail from one of the most biodiverse regions on the entire planet, the vast Amazon River Basin. Specifically, you'll find them sprawling across countries like Brazil, Peru, and Colombia. And like their name suggests, the dwarf part, they're relatively small, typically reaching maybe 3 to 4 inches, that's about 7 to 10 centimeters in length. And, with the right care, you can expect these fascinating little guys to grace your aquarium for a good 3 to 5 years, sometimes even longer.
And understanding that natural origin, the Amazon basin, it's just profoundly significant. It's not just trivia, because it immediately dictates their very precise environmental requirements. You can't guess with these. This isn't some generalist freshwater fish that, just adapts easily to whatever conditions you throw at it. Apistogramma agassizii is a highly specialized component of a very, very particular ecosystem. Their whole physiology, from their respiratory system, their reproductive cycles, it's all finely tuned to the conditions of their native Blackwater habitat.
Blackwater, right. We'll get more into that.
Exactly. Trying to keep them outside those conditions. It's kind of like trying to grow a delicate orchid in desert sand. Without mimicking its specific needs, it just won't flourish. It won't thrive. So every single aspect of their care, from the water chemistry right down to their diet, it's really just an echo of their Amazonian home.
That makes perfect sense. That connection to their natural environment, it really lays the groundwork for doing things right. Okay, so let's talk about their physical characteristics then, because this is where the Apistogramma agassizii really captivates people. The variation in color within this one species is pretty extraordinary, especially the striking differences between the sexes. The males are, without a doubt, they're the showstoppers. They boast this incredible palette of vibrant colors, fiery oranges that almost seem to glow, deep rich reds, brilliant electric blues, sunny yellows. Yeah, it's like they've packed a tropical sunset into their fins. And their fins themselves, the dorsal and anal fins, they're elongated and pointed, quite distinctive. And they're often adorned with these intricate, almost painterly colorful details, especially when they're, showing off for courtship or asserting dominance. And the beauty doesn't stop there, right? Depending on where they originally came from in the Amazon, you find these popular named varieties. Things like the red tail, which is known for that intense color on its tail fin, or the double red, which has even broader red and orange patterns. And then there's the Tife variety, often recognized for its sort of unique blend of iridescent blues and yellows. It just highlights the amazing diversity even within this single species. Each one can look like a unique living artwork.
It really does.
Now, the females, they present a more subtle kind of beauty, but it's just as important, I think. They're generally smaller than the males, and have more subdued colors, usually shades of yellow and brown. But don't mistake that subtlety for, plainness. They have this very well-defined horizontal black stripe running along their body. And this stripe is a crucial visual cue for you, the aquarist, because it intensifies dramatically, often against a backdrop of bright, almost startling yellow when they're ready to mate, or even more remarkably when they're actively caring for their fry. This striking change, it signals their maternal dedication and their territorial defense. It's pretty cool.
It is cool. And this pronounced sexual dimorphism, the stark difference in color between males and females.
Yeah.
It's not just for aesthetics, not at all. It's really a cornerstone of their evolutionary strategy. The male's vibrant colors and those elaborate fins, they're direct signals of fitness. Really crucial for attracting mates and deterring rival males. Kind of like a peacock's tail, right?
Right, exactly.
But for the females, they're more discreet coloration, which often blends in really well with the substrate and the leaf litter on the bottom. Well, that offers vital camouflage. It provides protection for themselves and, more importantly, for their highly vulnerable eggs and fry. And that intensification of their black stripe when they're breeding or tending to young, that serves as this unmistakable warning signal to other fish. It basically screams, "This is my protected territory. My offspring are here. Keep your distance." It's a really remarkable example of, innate communication and that aggressive maternal instinct at play.
Wow. So the stripe is like a do not disturb sign, but way more intense.
Pretty much. And on a related note, something seasoned aquarists often observe, which is fascinating. Wild-caught specimens of Apistogramma agassizii frequently display even more vibrant and intense colors than their captive bred counterparts.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
Well, the thinking is, this difference is likely due to a combination of factors. The richness and diversity of their natural diets in the Amazon, for one, that probably provides a broader spectrum of pigments, but also the unique light spectrum in their natural environment, and even specific stressors that might influence gene expression in ways we're, frankly, still trying to fully replicate in captivity. It's just a subtle reminder of how profoundly interconnected diet, environment, and physical appearance really are.
That's truly captivating. The colors aren't just pretty, they're like a complex language vital for survival and reproduction. Amazing. Okay, so now that we've really met these stunning fish and we understand a bit about their natural inclinations, the next step, and arguably the most critical one, is figuring out how to provide a home that doesn't just, keep them alive, but actually mimics their Amazonian roots precisely, keeps them happy, healthy, thriving for years to come. This is where the deep dive into their environment really begins in a practical sense. It's way more than just filling a glass box with water and plugging in a filter. It's about meticulously crafting an entire miniature world for them.
Indeed. Think of it this way. Knowledge is most valuable when you understand it and can actually apply it, right? And that principle is never more evident than in the art of aquarium keeping, especially for sensitive species like the Agassiz's Dwarf Cichlid. Every single element of their tank setup, from the precise water chemistry, the specific type of substrate, to the strategic placement of every piece of decor, it's all engineered to minimize stress and to maximize their well-being by directly mirroring their natural habitat. This isn't about, your decorative whims or making it look pretty for your living room, though it can be pretty. It's really about providing the fundamental conditions necessary for their physiological health, their mental stability, and giving them the ability to express their full range of natural behaviors. That includes their really elaborate breeding rituals. Every thoughtful choice you make as an aquarist has a direct, tangible impact on their longevity and their overall quality of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's break down the essential parameters for establishing that thriving habitat. First up, tank size. Now, while they are called dwarf cichlids, meaning they're relatively small, they still need adequate space. Space to establish territories, to explore, and just to feel secure. We recommend a minimum of 60 liters, which is approximately 15 gallons, for a small group. And when we say a small group, we're specifically thinking of a harem setup. So one male with maybe 2 or 3 females.
That ratio is important.
Yeah, it's crucial because male Apistogramma agassizii can be quite territorial, sometimes aggressively dominant, especially towards other males, but sometimes even towards a single female. Having multiple females helps to disperse any potential aggression from the male. It ensures no single female is constantly harassed, which reduces overall stress in the tank significantly. Now, if you're thinking about a larger community tank or you want to keep more individuals, then an aquarium of 100 liters, maybe 25 gallons or more, would be ideal. That provides ample room for everyone to coexist more peacefully and to find their own little spaces. Okay, next up, and this is arguably the most crucial detail for Apistogramma agassizii, the water parameters. These fish are incredibly particular. Why? Because their natural environment in the Amazon is remarkably stable and unique. The temperature needs to be consistently maintained between 75 and 82 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 24 to 28 Celsius. Pretty standard tropical range. But here's where it gets really specific and where a lot of folks need to pay close attention. The pH. It needs to be very soft and acidic. We're talking a range precisely from 5.0 to 6.5.
That low.
Exactly. And that low pH, it's basically non-negotiable because they come from those Blackwater environments we mentioned. In these unique habitats, you have vast amounts of decaying organic matter, leaves, wood, plant debris. And this stuff releases naturally occurring organic acids, tannins, into the water.
Right, the stuff that stains the water, that tea color.
Precisely. Those tannins stain the water amber or dark brown. And crucially, they lower the pH and soften the water. This unique chemistry is exactly what Apistogramma agassizii has adapted to over millennia. Deviating too far from it or letting it swing wildly can lead to severe health issues and a lot of stress for the fish. And hand in hand with pH is water hardness. It also needs to be very soft. We measure that in GH, or general hardness. You want it below 10 DGH, that's degrees of general hardness. Maintaining these precise and stable conditions isn't just a suggestion, it's a fundamental requirement for their long-term health.
Absolutely, stability is key.
Right, so to keep nitrate levels low, which build up from waste, and to ensure this stable environment, weekly partial water changes of maybe 20–30% are absolutely essential, non-negotiable. And because they're so sensitive to sudden changes in chemistry and to pollutants like ammonia and nitrite, regular testing for ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate isn't just good practice. It's a fundamental commitment you make when you keep these fish. Fluctuations, those sudden shifts, are often far more dangerous than just being slightly outside the ideal range for a short time. Their physiology really struggles to cope with rapid changes.
And the reason for that stringency, the absolute paramount importance of stability, it stems directly from those native Blackwater habitats. In the Amazon, factors like temperature, pH, hardness, they remain remarkably consistent for long stretches, mostly due to the sheer volume of water and that constant input of organic material. The fish's entire physiology has evolved to function optimally within that narrow, consistent range. Think about it. Their gills, their kidneys, their internal osmoregulation systems, they're all designed to process water with a very specific chemical makeup. A sudden shift in pH, even by just 1 point, or an abrupt change in hardness, it forces their bodies into this kind of emergency state. They have to divert energy away from their immune function, away from growth, away from everything else, just to maintain internal balance.
Wow, that sounds exhausting for them.
It is. It causes immense physiological stress, which weakens them, and that makes them highly susceptible to common pathogens that a healthy, unstressed fish could easily fight off. So it's not just about hitting the right numbers on your test kit. It's about providing that unwavering chemical consistency that mirrors their evolutionary home. And frankly, that's a test that's far more demanding than it might initially appear. It requires meticulous monitoring and really consistently disciplined maintenance routines.
That focus on unwavering consistency really drives home the nuanced care these fish need. It's not for the casual hobbyist, maybe.
Okay.
So moving from the invisible stuff, the water chemistry, to the tangible elements within the tank, let's talk about decor and substrate. These are just as vital for their comfort and allowing their natural behaviors. For the substrate, the bottom layer, fine sand, or very smooth, small-grain gravel, is definitely best. And here's that neat detail about why this matters. They're small, delicate, downward-facing mouths are perfectly adapted for sifting through the substrate. They're looking for tiny food particles, little invertebrates. They're natural little excavators, constantly nosing through the bottom.
Yeah, you see them doing it all the time.
Right. Coarse or sharp gravel could easily damage those delicate mouths. That could lead to abrasions, infections, or it might just make it impossible for them to engage in their natural foraging behavior, which, again, causes stress. Now, when it comes to decor, your goal should be to create a rich, complex environment. Lots of visual barriers, lots of hiding spots, driftwood, carefully selected rocks, and live plants are not just, aesthetic additions. They are absolutely essential.
Critical.
These elements create numerous hiding spots, which are crucial for reducing stress. They give the fish refuge from perceived threats or maybe a dominant tank mate. And they also allow the fish to establish and defend their individual territories without constant conflict. This is especially important for these cichlids, as males can be territorial and the females become intensely protective during breeding. Now, a really beneficial addition, something that directly mimics their natural environment, is using Indian almond leaves, also known as catappa leaves. Or you could use other natural leaf litter like clean oak or beech leaves.
Yeah, botanicals are great for these tanks.
Exactly. Beyond just looking natural, ththese leaves slowly release those beneficial tannins into the water as they break down. They subtly stain the water, that tea-like color, sure, but more importantly, those tannins help maintain that crucial soft acidic water we keep talking about. And they even have mild antibacterial and antifungal properties, which can give the fish's immune system a little boost. Creates a more natural, healthy environment overall. Now, for anyone looking to encourage breeding, small, dark ceramic caves or even natural coconut shells, cut in half maybe, they're perfectly shaped and serve as ideal spawning sites. They provide that security and seclusion that females instinctively seek out for egg laying and fry rearing.
Gotta have those caves.
Definitely. And finally, let's talk lighting. Dim to moderate lighting is preferred. This reflects the natural low-light conditions they experience in the Amazonian undergrowth. Dense tree canopies, tannin-stained water. It creates a subdued, diffused light environment down where they live. Bright, harsh lighting can actually cause them undue stress and make them really shy and hide all the time. And last but not least, filtration. Always, always opt for a filter with a gentle flow. These fish are not built for strong currents. They really prefer calm, still waters. Sponge filters are particularly ideal here. They provide very gentle water circulation. They're excellent biological filters, easy to maintain, and they offer a superb surface area for beneficial microorganisms to colonize, which can even serve as a supplemental food source for newly hatched fry sometimes.
It's really fascinating when you stop and think about it, how every single piece of decor in a well-planned aquarium for Apistogramma agassizii serves a purpose far beyond just looking nice. Those Indian almond leaves, for instance, they aren't just there for a rustic vibe. They are actively, organically altering the water chemistry. They're providing crucial tannins that benefit the fish's health and closely simulate their native habitat. And those carefully placed caves, they aren't just pretty shelters, they are vital nurseries. They offer that secure, private space that's absolutely necessary for successful breeding and then for the meticulous care of the fry afterwards. This thoughtful, functional design, that's what truly differentiates a thriving Apistogramma habitat from just, a glass box with water in it. It's really about constructing a miniature living ecosystem where every element plays a role in the fish's well-being and allows them to show off their full range of natural, complex behaviors.
That's such a brilliant way to frame it. Functional beauty, right? Every element has a job, contributing to the whole environment. Okay, so if you're like me, once you've successfully set up that perfect habitat, you've seen your fish settle in, they look comfortable. The next incredibly interesting and rewarding step is often observing their natural behaviors, maybe even encouraging them to breed. And this is where the intricacies of their social lives truly unfold and it gets really fascinating. Because breeding Apistogramma agassizii is, well, it's a profound experience that unveils even more of their captivating instincts.
Yeah, the breeding of cichlids in general, and Apistogramma agassizii in particular, is often considered a sort of pinnacle achievement for aquarists, and for good reason. It's just a powerful demonstration of their complex social structures, their very precise environmental needs, and those deeply ingrained parental instincts they have. Successfully breeding them signifies that you haven't just provided the basic necessities, right? It means you've truly mastered the art of replicating their nuanced natural conditions and you're understanding their subtle behavioral cues. It's really a testament to the comprehensive integrated care you've provided. It shows the fish are responding positively to that perfectly tailored environment you've created.
It certainly feels like a significant accomplishment when they finally decide to spawn. Okay, so let's walk to the path to successful spawning. First, as we kind of touched on earlier, pair formation, or rather group formation, is key. It's highly recommended, almost essential really, to keep one male with 2 or 3 females. This isn't just a suggestion for looks, it's a vital strategy for managing aggression and promoting successful breeding. Male Apistogramma agassizii, as we said, can be quite territorial, especially towards other males, but also sometimes intensely focused on a single female, potentially stressing her out.
Right, he can harass her.
Exactly. By providing multiple females, the male's attention and any potential aggression get dispersed. It prevents any one female from being overly bothered, which is crucial for her health and her readiness to breed. You'll also want to make absolutely sure you've provided those essential spawning sites we talked about earlier, those small caves, natural coconut shells, or other sheltered dark spots. These aren't optional. The female needs a secure, private location to lay her eggs, and, even more importantly, to feel safe and secure while she's guarding them and her future fry. Now, as for specific spawning conditions, sometimes a subtle environmental nudge can trigger the process. A slightly warmer temperature, maybe at the higher end of their preferred range, like 78 to 82 Fahrenheit, that's 26 to 28 Celsius, combined with that soft acidic water, that precise pH 5.0 to 6.5 we hammered home earlier, that combination can act as a crucial trigger.
Mimicking natural cues.
Exactly. These subtle changes mimic seasonal cues in their natural Amazonian environment. They signal that conditions are optimal for reproduction and the survival of offspring, maybe due to increased food availability or more stable water levels in the wild. And finally, diet plays a pivotal role here too. Conditioning the breeding pair, getting them ready. Feeding them a variety of high-quality live or frozen foods is absolutely key to success. Think nutritious options like newly hatched brine shrimp, mosquito larvae if you can get them safely and ethically, daphnia, small worms like blackworms or whiteworms. This diverse, protein-rich diet provides the necessary energy, essential fatty acids, and vital nutrients for robust egg production. And it just ensures the fish are in peak physical condition for the demanding process of breeding and the parental care that follows.
And that strategy, conditioning the breeders with those rich, live, and frozen foods, it goes beyond simple nutrition. It serves a much deeper biological purpose. In their wild habitat, an abundance of such diverse, high-quality food sources typically signals the onset of the prime breeding seasons. This is a period when resources are plentiful. That ensures not only that the parents are well-nourished for the rigors of reproduction, but also that there will be ample food available for the tiny, vulnerable fry once they hatch. So by replicating this dietary richness in the aquarium, you're essentially providing this powerful nonverbal cue to the fish. You're signaling to their deepest instincts that yes, environmental conditions are indeed ideal for reproduction right now. This physiological and psychological priming, if you will, significantly increases the likelihood of successful spawning and hopefully healthy offspring.
That's truly fascinating how specific environmental signals and even what they eat can prompt such complex instinctual behaviors. Amazing. Okay, so once those conditions are met, the fish decide to spawn. It's quite a spectacle of dedication, really. The female will typically lay anywhere from, say, 50 to 100 tiny eggs inside her chosen sheltered spot. She meticulously sticks them to the ceiling or the walls of the cave. But here's where the drama and the intense dedication truly begin. After she lays those eggs, the female transforms. She becomes this incredibly fierce and protective mother. She will aggressively guard those eggs and later the tiny, vulnerable fry.
She really does. It's impressive.
It is. And it's during this period that her normally more discreet colors become even more intense, often turning that bright, unmistakable yellow with a really prominent black stripe. She's defending her territory from any other fish that dares to approach, doesn't matter their size. It's an amazing, almost awe-inspiring display of maternal dedication. The eggs themselves, they develop pretty quickly, usually hatching in about 2 to 3 days, depends a bit on the temperature. And then in another 5 to 7 days, the newly hatched fry, they're called wrigglers at first, absorb their yolk sacs and become free swimming. That's when they start their independent journey, exploring their immediate surroundings near mom. Once they are free swimming, these young fry are incredibly tiny, almost microscopic. So their first foods need to be equally small and highly nutritious. Newly hatched brine shrimp nauplii, that's the baby brine shrimp or microworms, are absolutely ideal. They provide the perfect minute size and that concentrated nutritional punch they need for rapid initial growth.
It's truly remarkable to observe the sheer dedication of the female Apistogramma agassizii, that aggressive defense, the striking, vibrant color change. It's not just a charming quirk, it's really a profound testament to the evolutionary pressures that have shaped strong parental care in these species. This intense protective behavior is absolutely essential for ensuring the survival of the next generation in a challenging natural environment that's, teeming with predators. It just underscores how intrinsically linked their appearance, their behavior, and their reproductive success really are. Witnessing this level of maternal instinct in your own home aquarium makes them such endlessly compelling subjects for observation. It truly deepens your appreciation for the natural world.
It's genuinely incredible. Witnessing that level of commitment in such a small creature is something else. Okay, so you've meticulously set up their habitat. Maybe you've even had the joy of seeing them breed, and now you're enjoying their beautiful colors and fascinating behaviors. But like any living creature, these fish can, unfortunately, face health challenges sometimes. And of course, there's the equally important question of their neighbors, who can share their little slice of Amazonian paradise without causing stress or harm.
Right. And when it comes to the health of your Apistogramma agassizii, that old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, is profoundly true, maybe more so than for many other fish. These are delicate fish, relatively speaking, and proactive measures are far more effective and significantly less stressful for them than trying to treat an illness once it's already taken hold. Understanding the potential threats and meticulously mitigating them primarily through pristine water conditions and choosing appropriate tank mates, that is absolutely paramount to their long-term health and vitality. Responsible husbandry, consistent care. That's their best defense.
That's incredibly solid advice. Prevention is absolutely the best medicine for these sensitive fish. Okay, so let's discuss some common diseases and their treatments, just so you're aware. It's crucial to emphasize right away, again, that Apistogramma agassizii are highly sensitive to poor or unstable water conditions. Cannot stress that enough. This means consistent, diligent maintenance, especially those regular water changes, and careful parameter monitoring is absolutely the key to keeping them healthy in the first place. But, even with the best care, sometimes things happen. So it's good to know what to look for and how to react. One very common issue for freshwater fish, including Apistogramma, is itch, also known as white spot disease.
Yep, I see that one a lot.
Yeah. It's characterized by tiny white dots appearing on the fish's body and fins. Looks almost like someone sprinkled salt on them. These are actually parasites. For treatment, you can slowly raise the tank temperature to about 86 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 30 Celsius, over maybe 24 hours. This speeds up the itch parasite's life cycle, making it more vulnerable. And you should combine that heat with medication containing malachite green. That targets the free-swimming stage of the parasite. Another common ailment is fin rot. The fins look frayed, ragged, maybe even red and inflamed, often caused by bacterial infections setting in on damaged tissue. The primary treatment here: immediately improve water quality. Diligent, maybe even daily, small, partial water changes to remove pollutants and reduce bacterial load. And if necessary, use broad-spectrum antibiotics. Something containing nitrofurazone or erythromycin can help address bacterial infection directly.
Water quality first, always.
Always. Now, bacterial infections in general, whether they're external or internal, might show up as lethargy, maybe bloating, clamped fins, or even open sores. For these more systemic issues, broad-spectrum antibiotics like Canaplex, which is kanamycin, or Furin-2, which is nitrofurazone, are often effective. But always follow the dosage instructions precisely. Don't guess. Lastly, internal parasites like gill flukes can sometimes be an issue. You might notice rapid breathing. The fish might gasp at the surface or rub itself against Decor. That's because the parasites are irritating their gills. Treatments containing praziquantel are typically used for these types of internal or external fluke parasites. But ultimately, and I know we keep saying this, but it's that important, the very best way to prevent any disease is to maintain consistently pristine water quality. Avoid overcrowding your tank. That stresses fish and increases waste load. And always quarantine new fish. Put them in a separate tank for several weeks, observe them before introducing them to your main display tank. This prevents you from unwittingly introducing pathogens that could potentially devastate your entire established community. It's heartbreaking when that happens.
And it's really important to understand why these particular fish seem so susceptible to what we might consider common aquarium diseases. It almost invariably traces back to stress. Stress is the big enemy here. And that stress is often induced by inadequate, or maybe more importantly, fluctuating water parameters, like those sudden pH swings we talked about, or elevated nitrates, or incorrect temperature. Or it can be caused by unsuitable, aggressive tank mates constantly harassing them. Either way, that stress severely compromises the fish's immune system. And when their immune system is weakened by chronic stress, they become highly vulnerable to pathogens, bacteria, parasites, fungi that might otherwise be harmless to a robust, unstressed fish. This deep connection makes all those habitat details we discussed earlier, the precise water chemistry, the abundance of hiding spots, the gentle water flow, even more critically important, because those environmental factors directly contribute to a stress-free existence. And that, in essence, is the very foundation of disease prevention and overall health for Apistogramma agassizii.
That's a powerful and vital connection to make. It really reminds us just how interconnected everything is in their small, delicate world. You can't separate the environment from their health. Okay, so building on that, let's talk about choosing the right companions for your Agassiz dwarf cichlid. Good neighbors. While they are generally considered peaceful for a cichlid, they do have their boundaries, especially the males, and particularly during breeding season. They will defend a territory. So the ideal companions are peaceful fish species that share similar water parameter needs, that soft acidic water, and ideally occupy different areas of the water column. That minimizes competition. Good choices often include small tetras, think neon tetras, ember tetras, or rummy nose tetras, classic choices. Yeah, these species are well known for schooling gracefully in the mid to upper levels of the water column. They stay largely out of the cichlid's immediate territory down on the bottom. Resboras, like harlequin resboras or the tiny chili resboras, are also excellent choices for similar reasons. Peaceful occupy the mid-water. Now for the bottom dwellers, dwarf Corydora species are perfect, like pygmy cories or Hebrosus cories. They're small, incredibly peaceful, and they don't directly compete for the same food or the prime territorial spots that the Apistogramma wants. They just kind of coexist nicely. Otocinclus catfish, another fantastic option. They're peaceful little algae eaters. They won't bother your cichlids in the slightest. And finally, some small, peaceful barbs, like the cherry barb, can also coexist harmoniously, adding another layer of activity, usually in the mid-water again. However, there are definitely fish you should actively avoid to prevent stress, injury, maybe even predation. Large cichlids like angelfish or, heaven forbid, Oscars, it's an absolute no-go.
Oh, yeah, bad idea.
They will not only outcompete your dwarf cichlids for food and space, but they will almost certainly view them as a snack eventually. Aggressive barbs, like the notorious tiger barb, infamous for their relentless fin-nipping behavior. That would cause immense stress and injury to your delicate Apistogramma. Avoid them like the plague. You also want to steer clear of other known fin nippers like Serpatetras or some of the more boisterous Danios. And just generally avoid any excessively fast-swimming hyperactive fish that might constantly dart around. That creates a chaotic, high-energy environment that stresses these calmer fish. Plus, those fast swimmers might outcompete your slower-moving dwarf cichlids for food before they even get a chance. Remember, Apistogramma prefer a calm, unhurried pace.
And that careful selection of tank mates, it isn't just about avoiding fights, It's really about understanding and respecting the ecological niches that each species naturally occupies. Avoiding fin nippers, or large predators, is basically our attempt in the aquarium to replicate the kind of community structure where the Agassiz dwarf cichlid can actually thrive without chronic stress or constant threat. In their natural habitat, they inhabit specific zones within the water column. They interact with certain types of fish in fairly predictable ways. When we choose tank mates, we are essentially trying to construct a functional microcosm of that natural balance, where each species can fulfill its inherent role without negatively impacting the others. And that thoughtful approach, it creates a much more enjoyable, sustainable, and crucially less stressful environment for all the inhabitants. It allows their true behaviors and their most vibrant colors to really emerge.
That's a perfect way to frame it. Building a balanced little ecosystem, not just collecting pretty fish. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up this deep dive, let's hit you with just a few more surprising, quirky, maybe truly memorable facts about these incredible fish. Just to round out your miniature expertise. We briefly mentioned it way back at the beginning, but it's worth reiterating. They were named after the Swiss biologist Louis Agassiz, a pretty pivotal figure in 19th century natural history, known for work on fish and glaciers, actually.
Interesting combo.
Yeah. And here's a wonderful visual to remember. The males perform these incredibly elaborate courtship dances to attract females. Just picture this. They flare out their magnificent fins. They quiver and tremble their bodies. They intensify their already vibrant colors, all trying to mesmerize the female into accepting their advances. Seeing that is truly one of the most captivating joys of keeping them, I think. Now, on the flip side, we've touched on her dedication, but it bears repeating with emphasis. Female Apistogramma agassizii are exceptional mothers, like really exceptional. They are fiercely protective, aggressively defending their territory and their precious fry against any perceived threat, no matter how small or large the other fish is. You'll see this in their dramatic color change to that bright warning yellow. It's a clear signal. Do not approach my baby zone.
Fierce little things.
Totally. And remember that color vibrancy thing we mentioned earlier, that wild-caught specimens often possess more vivid and complex coloration than captive-bred ones. It's believed to be linked to the rich diversity of their natural diets and the specific environmental conditions, maybe trace elements, lighting of their pristine Amazonian homes. Still some mystery there. And finally, that small downward-facing mouth we discussed, the one for sifting substrate. It's not just a cute anatomical detail. It's a highly specialized adaptation, perfectly suited for efficiently foraging for tiny invertebrates and microscopic food particles hidden within the fine sediments of their native rivers. It's really a testament to their evolutionary specialization within their unique ecological niche.
It's truly remarkable, isn't it, how these seemingly small fun facts aren't just isolated bits of trivia. They connect directly back to every single aspect of their care, their survival, their evolutionary success that we've discussed today. From that specialized mouth, which optimizes their unique foraging strategy, to their remarkable and often surprisingly aggressive parental instincts. Every detail is a testament to their evolutionary journey within that specific Amazonian niche. It just underscores the fact that these aren't just aesthetically pleasing fish you put in a tank. They are complex organisms with intricate behaviors and very precise biological needs, and appreciating these nuances, that's what transforms a simple fish keeper into a truly knowledgeable and successful aquarist, I think.
Couldn't agree more. So what does this all mean for you, the listener, the learner, maybe the aspiring Agassiz dwarf cichlid enthusiast? Well, it's clear that Apistogramma agassizii is an incredibly rewarding fish. Truly a gem for aquarists who enjoy observing natural behaviors, who appreciate vibrant colors, and crucially, who are willing to dedicate themselves to attentive, precise care. By diligently providing that soft, acidic water that mimics their natural Blackwater environment. By ensuring plenty of diverse hiding spots through thoughtful decor choices and maybe lush planting. And by carefully selecting peaceful, compatible tank mates, you absolutely can create a truly thriving, beautiful, and endlessly fascinating environment for these exceptional dwarf cichlids. It's definitely a commitment, yes, but the payoff in terms of the beauty you observe, the complex behavior you witness, and just the satisfaction of successful husbandry, it's immense.
Which brings us, perhaps, to a final, compelling question for you to ponder on your own. In a world where we often seek the grand, the large, the obviously exotic, how much more profound does our appreciation for a species become when we truly understand the intricate, often unseen balance required to sustain it, even within the confines of our own homes? Perhaps the greatest reward isn't simply owning a beautiful fish like this. Maybe it's found in the deeper satisfaction that comes from understanding and then successfully replicating the small, perfect world you've created for it. Honoring its natural history, respecting its precise biological needs, it's really a testament to the power of observation, patience, and meticulous care. Makes you think, right?
It really does. A perfect thought to end on. Okay, that's all for this deep dive. We really hope you've thoroughly enjoyed this fascinating journey into the vibrant and, let's face it, intricate world of the Agassiz dwarf cichlid. Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration. Remember to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more fascinating insights and in-depth explorations just like this one. And make sure to tune in every Monday because we'll be presenting a new fish well, a new topic, a new set of sources for you to dive into. See you then.